In a cramped, candlelit study, cluttered with leather-bound books and strange artifacts, a reclusive academic, Dr. Alistair Finch, stared at an ornate wooden box. It had been left on his doorstep unmarked just minutes ago. With trembling fingers, he carefully opened the clasp. Inside, nestled on crimson velvet, sat an antique silver pendant, a swirling knot of metal around a pulsating, amethyst-colored stone. Beside it lay a small card, its edge singed. It bore a single elegant line of script, a token that you may not be forgotten. Use with caution. Alistair's eyes widened. This was no ordinary antique. It thrummed with a power he had only read about in forbidden texts, the rumored shard of a long-lost cosmic gate. Days turned into obsessive, sleepless weeks. Alistair consulted ancient star charts, his makeshift lab filling with copper coils and vacuum tubes. He believed the pendant was a beacon, a frequency-specific key. He was obsessed with finding life beyond the stars, with touching the divine. The night he cracked the sequence, the air in the room became brittle. Alistair held the silver pendant, now glowing an intense, volatile violet, over the open wooden box. It hummed in sympathy with his jury-rigged machines. He activated the final coil. A low-frequency vibration rattled the very foundations of his house. They must see this, he whispered. He thought of the note, caution. But obsession won out. He dropped the pendant. The results were catastrophic and instantaneous. The space in front of the artifact distorted, not into a controlled vision but a tearing abyss. A violent, unstable portal exploded into being, crackling with agonizingly bright white and blue light that threw wild shadows. Alistair recoiled, covering his eyes as the feedback nearly blinded him. Through the screaming energy, a figure stumbled. It wasn't a celestial being. It wasn't a god. It was a person, a young man no older than 25, wearing a denim jacket and a confused, terrified expression. He landed hard on the dusty rug, coughing. The human. The young man had lasted 2 days. The thing that had come with him had taken his mind first, filling it with nightmarish visions until he screamed only for death. Then it had taken everything else. Alistair had locked the door, and later the thing had left, slithering out into the world. He hadn't been able to stop it. He had only watched, the weight of his transgression crushing him. Alistair sat at his heavy desk, his head buried in his hands. The note, caution. He understood now. The pendant wasn't the gift. The opportunity was. He had been given a chance to summon great power, and he had squandered it on bringing weakness. He had allowed a terrified, insignificant human through the door, and in doing so, had invited an apocalypse he didn't even fully understand. The silence of his house was deafening, pressing on his ears. A floorboard creaked in the hall. It was too soft for any human. Alistair didn't lift his head. The ultimate isolation wasn't being alone. It was knowing that something else was here, and it was waiting. He had brought the wrong human, and now it was his turn to pay. A single, final thought echoed in his mind, darker than the abyss he had opened. Silence. What have I done? Alistair dropped his hands, utterly paralyzed. This is a mistake. He hadn't accessed the cosmos. He'd reached across time, or space, or worse. The note said a gift, a token, but a human? He looked at the device, now arcing violently. The young man, scrambling backwards, locked eyes with him. Where am I? What is this? His voice cracked. Alistair could feel a deep, terrifying chill. He had opened a door, yes. But he had not been the first to pass through. Something else had slipped through the gap behind the terrified kid. A soft, wet whisper was the only sound besides the youth's panicked breathing. Alistair was alone again. The portal had collapsed in a final, agonizing discharge of static. The artifact was dark. Its central stone cracked and dead, smoke curling from its broken filigree. His elaborate setup was shattered,